Hey guys, Stirling finest badger brush today, 24 millimeter I believe, and this is the fan knot. You can kind of see the relative flatness of the top there, and I like this guy. He does have some backbone, but if he relaxes just a little bit, I think I'm going to really like him and be able to keep him around. The razor for today has an Italian barber knurled handle I like a lot. And then it is a vintage Gillette new, and you can see on the bottom it's got a raised flat area. This is called an RFB, or a raised flat bottom, from the UK. I like the shave so far, and I just haven't used it too much. Wanted to throw it in again, and I think it's a medium aggression razor, and I think that is going to fit well with the feather. It's getting long in the tooth. A lot of people don't take feathers very far because they say they're just so sharp and they dull quickly, but I just used it for 44 shaves yesterday, so today is 45. And then this soap for today, this company, Storybook Soapworks, produced this as an exclusive a couple years ago for the subreddit wet shaving, and it's been available for a while now on their website, not just to members of this group. And it is a good soap base. I've enjoyed it before, and this is a tub that doesn't even look like it's been used. This scent is special a little bit to me because right when I moved on from Amazon being the only shave wisdom in the comments, of shave products on Amazon, I was there for several months, maybe a year, before I realized there was more. There were forums and subreddits and just all kinds of things out there for people who are loving their shaves and getting good gear and things like that. And this, when I just got into Reddit, this was currently out, I believe, and I didn't know anything, and so I didn't pick it up. I think I did get a sample, maybe. I ended up having it sent to me, and so this is kind of in the early days of my shaving experience, and I like the smell. Also, Storybook has changed their paradigm in the last several months. This guy's been a staple, part of their product line for a couple of years now, and they're going to change things up a little bit. Instead of continuing to offer staples, they're going to be more creative and flexible and offer kind of limited releases. And so you can read about a scent that's coming up, and then when it's let loose, then you can grab it up. And that's just, they're changing their business model a little bit. And so they can focus on new development and putting forth creative things, interesting things, instead of necessarily always producing some staple items, because after all, there are just so many people out there right now in the shaving soap and shaving products artisan movement that it's I imagine it's hard to compete. All right, a little water in my face before the shave. Start the softening of the hairs. And then let's put this feather blade in the razor. So I'm going to have to start showing you guys the blade because it's kind of entering marathon uses here. So the RFB has these little 4 posts that help to perfectly align the blade along with these rails in the middle, and so that blade just isn't going anywhere. Here's the base plate of the RFB. It's not a super common razor, and so I was pleased when this one became available. I already had one, and I think it's the number 77, And with that one, it's not configured like this. It actually has part of the original handle permanently affixed to the bottom of the base plate. And so it's more like a two-piece where you have the top cap coming in, and then you have a screw mechanism coming through the handle that connects everything together. Whereas this one lets you be able to switch handles. And so this is probably the one I'm going to keep around. I might sell the other one, I'm not sure. All right, so let's see how the feather does. Let's look at the kind of exposure just a little bit. We may not be able to, ascertain too much from it. There, it's not super positively exposed, it looks like. All right. Also, I've got the shake and post shave, and to be honest, I haven't opened this yet. You shake it up. It does have aloe, witch hazel, and fragrance, of course. It doesn't have alcohol. Is not the first ingredient, so this might be more of a tonic, which is cool. So we'll try that a little bit later. I've got a itchy, scratchy back because I got a recent haircut. If you've been watching lately, you will probably have instantly noticed. Okay, so we'll do a normal 30-second load. I do that whenever I'm a little unsure as to how much time I'll need to load. So this brush has been soaking for maybe 10 minutes. It's a finest, and so the tips do absorb some water. They do change, and so I do like to give it time to do that. And a lot of times, some of those finest brushes really reward me when I soak them for 20 minutes or 30 minutes prior to a shave. All right, I'm going to shake out most of the water here. It's not a huge brush, but it definitely gets the job done, and at least for my track of land here, it's a good fit. Okay, so the 10 mark is going to come around right there, so we'll go to 40. So, hook is another one of my favorites from Storybook. Shaken, all those guys are just kind of going to get discontinued. So if you love those, maybe try to find those while you can. Of course, here's the thing. If you buy up a bunch of soaps that are going to be discontinued, what are you going to do when next year somebody releases some hot new soap that you really like? So now you've got all this other stuff you bought up that's going to be discontinued, but new stuff is always going to be developed. And so in a way, maybe hold back that fear of missing out, because good stuff is just around the corner all the time. But to me, if it's one of your top-notch favorites, and it's just, especially if it's really nichey and not likely to roll around in that scent again, for me, Diamond from Barrister and Mann is kind of that way. That's one I've got a couple of backups of. I just really like the way it's put together. I like the performance. I like the glissant base of it really, really well. And I think I also bought it in Excelsior as well, because that came out recently. But most of the others, and some of the others I did buy some backups of, and I realized, wait a minute, there's just new companies coming in all the time. There's going to be some new hotness, and so only pick a few is my theory. What I'm going with, I'll just pick a few to kind of use and to have backups of, and the rest of them, I'll just let it be. Because after all, if you get a lot of soaps, it'll take you a while to use them up anyway. I'm going to work it for a little while without adding any water. And that's probably long enough for this one. Get the syringe out. And again, I'm not adding a prescribed amount of water here. I just use this because it's very easy to add a whole teaspoon to a lather like I just did. But this same device can also be used to add 5 drops to the tip of a brush. when you're fine-tuning a lather during the shaving process. So it's just a flexible tool to be able to add water, and then at the end, that's when I measure, just because I'm curious as to how much water I used up, so I can make a note of it for next time, and maybe I can shortcut. Maybe I can jump ahead and add water in the beginning of the process, so I don't have to quite worry about it adding so slowly. Because of this little ridge here, I've got big hands. That is, you know, it's not the most ergonomic thing in the world for a bowl latherer, but it's okay. If I fall in love with this knot, I can break this handle off and put the knot in something a little better. Storybook, an excellent soap maker. Really like some of his creations. I should have looked up the scent description so I could pass that on to you. If you want to look in the video's description, you'll see a write-up. It's not super strong in the bowl here, so that probably means it's going to be easy going on the face, and it may actually be too light for me to really enjoy it, but we'll see. Not a super strong scent coming from the tub either. Good looking lather though. Nice and creamy. So I know it's going to perform. I have tried a sample of this a while back. Let's take a feel. Decent viscosity, some resistance there. Kind of a thin layer of slickness, but nice. Yeah, that's good. And the slickness stays with my fingers as I rub across. The bubbles come back. The foam comes back to where kind of it was. There are some other types where you move your finger across and then there's nothing on. You kind of wipe away everything. But here, it not only does it leave that slick layer behind, but it also, the viscosity is just a little thicker to where it, where that protection stays there. Nice. It may still need a little bit more water, but let's just start off with this and just see what happens. Oh yeah, and then when I rinse off my hands, it takes a little bit for it to leave because it's there protecting. So very nice. Let's just give it a little bit more of a stir. So we have 3 teaspoons in it right now. "30-second load," and judging by everything I see, that's plenty to do the job. And now water on my face. So every time I give myself a haircut, my gray increases on the sides here, and it because I've cut away the dark color. For a long time, I've recommended this brush to people who are interested in trying out a badger. I'll usually put a caveat in that says, you know, if you like a little bit more backbone, To me, this is a nice amount of backbone because it keeps those nice tips focused at you instead of letting the sides of the bristles be what works on your skin. This is very nice. I am not getting pushed around by that backbone. I mean, look how big that knot has flared up to be. It has opened huge. It was this narrow before we started, before I got it wet. Lather feels good. These tips are very soft. Happy with that. I'll bet I can add some more water to this brush. Improve the lather just a bit, a little bit more slick. Feels great on my face. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Look at that. It's exceeding the sides just like the other day. And so I'll rake off the side lather there. We'll keep adding a little bit into the brush. So I definitely could have added more water to this lather. We are still dealing with a concentrate. As you can see how it's still building up, increasing in quantity and volume here on my face. Getting some good massage action. We make sure that we're exposing my bristles and the stubble on my face to the softening effects of the lather, and the skin's absorbing the lather as well. And now look at that, we're building, all that is built lather now that wasn't there before. So yeah, this lather definitely needs some more water. So that's 4 teaspoons total that I've used in it. Definitely need to add some more water here. So we'll go ahead and shave this part off. Cool water, it's winter time, and this location has nice soft water that's great for making lather. Take off the part on the unshavable area so that I don't forget and shave where I shouldn't. All right, north to south with the grain here. And we'll see how the raised flat bottom open comb vintage from Gillette handles the feather that's had quite a few uses on it. I am feeling not really the blade edge really per se. I mean, maybe a little bit. It's definitely not slicing through like butter, like feathers do tend to do when they are newer. But what I imagine is going on is we're getting some good hairs cut, and then into the second and third pass are just going to be a breeze. But yeah, I could tell that lather could definitely use to be a little wetter. All right, and now rinse. One nice thing that can happen after you've put on a layer of lather that is a little bit less hydrated than you might want, often that takes that rinse and turns it into just this slick fest, because the water you're adding is just combining with the kind of the excess soap that's on your face, and the feeling is luxurious and slick. The soap base, I'm just having a good time with that. So while that could have gone perhaps a little better because it was a little too wet, it still felt terrific in the rinse. Nice feeling. buttery slick, yeah, that sort of thing. I don't think Storybook has put out a recent formulation yet, you know. Holy Cow has got a new formula out. Zingari Man, Barrister and Man's had Excelsior out for a while now. Holy Cow, I said Holy Cow, this Seago or something like that, Sierra. Declaration Grooming, of course, with milk steak. Oh yeah, this lather looks terrific. Okay, so show you some stretch here. See how that bottom, oh, you may not have seen it because of the angle there. Let me see, try it again. Watch him slowly collapse on himself. So that's something to look for. The lather itself, it's got a nice sheen to it. It does kind of have some micro bubbles, but it doesn't come across in the feel. Very nice. All right, so now we have 5 teaspoons. That is currently what we've used in terms of water for this lather. Let's see what happens now. Brush feels great. I'm really happy with this guy. See, look how big the splay is. Looks kind of small in the beginning, but it works really well. Covers plenty of ground. Switch to the painting motions now. Second pass, you don't really need to scrub too much. Most of that's been done already. Okay, feather, let's see what you do now. Yeah. It's not as slick. It's not moving through as nicely as yesterday with the Karve Christopher Bradley razor on a C plate. C is a little bit higher than mid, according to Chris, the maker, but to me, I think it's kind of mid. Second pass was nicer and smoother with that razor, but maybe this guy is, you know, he's just a little different, a little bit more exposure than the Bradley, I think. So who knows? We'll see what kind of result we get with this one. Sometimes a little bit extra feel translates into a little closer cut sometimes. There we go. Terrific feel. Just nice. There's it's, you know, it is kind of thin, but you can feel the quality, and you can feel that slickness. Very nice. All right, well, that is a nicely constructed lather. I'm really happy with that. It is in a great spot right now. Look how elastic that is. See how long it stretched before it disconnected? There we go. This is how I like it. It is creamy, feels luxurious, but it's super wet, well hydrated. This brush is liking it. This is a terrific combo. And I've got tons of lather. So 30 seconds. I just put on the third pass. So there's another pass in the brush right here. Probably 3 more passes in the bowl. So seven passes of lather is what I made. with those 30 seconds. So this brush does a pretty good job with its nice backbone of whipping up that soap, bringing it in from the tub onto the brush. You definitely lower the load time for a brush like this. A soft silver tip may be different, maybe not quite as much of a reduction. So maybe 20 seconds for a silver tip, and maybe this could be 15 for this type of brush. You know, something like that might be appropriate. Cross grain again on the face, and this should be and is very comfortable. Light touch as usual. Better to come back on another pass than to bear down too hard. And that's why you see me have a grip like this. See, I'm not even gripping the bottom of the razor handle down here. I'm using it only for balance and ballast to accent and counterbalance the head. I'm holding it kind of at the fulcrum so that the razor can move around and the razor can be what's flexible instead of trying to make my skin flex under the movement of the razor. So I can keep that light touch. And then now I've got that little trouble spot right now. What's left, I'm going to switch directions, do a little bit of tightening of the skin, and see if we can do a good cutting job on this little troublemaker. No irritation, no razor burn. Man, this lather it's almost like I'm massaging in some kind of healing balm, you know? I have no razor burn at all. So I could even come back here again, like that. See if maybe I missed some guys. And there we go. Nice. All right, so time to do a full rinse and we'll check out the results. Well, along with great victory, sometimes comes disappointment. This lather is perfect in consistency. I mean, look at that little floppy peak there. That's the way it should be. This is perfect. Feels great on my face. Rinses are luxurious, and it feels like my face is greased. I mean, it's not a greasy feeling, but it just feels like my face is ready for performance. If I have a razor to come across, it's just going to be protected, and that's exactly how you want to feel with your lather in place. But the scent strength is really low. I didn't notice it during the shave, and even when I dive my nose into the bowl, I get a whiff of it, but it's still really light. It's a classy kind of night out kind of scent, like you might imagine with a James Bond kind of theme here with shaken, but it's just too weak. It's virtually unscented unless you got your nose in the bowl, and even then it's super light. So I believe I will have to pass this tub on to somebody who enjoys light scents or is just a big shaken fan, and so the light scent is enough for them to be able to just enjoy the soap. And the soap base is tremendous. I'm so glad that I have a couple of tubs of Hook, and I think I've got 3 from Storybook. But oh yeah, West Egg is a one that was done recently by Storybook, and I've got Hook. I know those 2, and I may have another one. So Hallward's Dream, I think, is one. I liked the scent. That may have been one that was a little faint too. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is a good lather right here. Awesome, awesome. Just very quiet in terms of the scent strength department, for me at least. Okay, so we can back that off here with use of the aftershave witch hazel. I guess it's a tonic. Witch hazel, aloe, water, fragrance, and then some other things like preservatives or emulsifiers and things like that. So I shook it up, and yeah, okay, this is a milk. It's milky in color. So let's see how the scent comes through in the milk. The milk is a little messy to apply. Definitely get more of a scent jolt from that, so that's good. I'll kind of feel it around with my nose as I do some cleaning up. So I'm enjoying the scent of what it is. Maybe a little leather, maybe cognac, or something in the alcohol family there. Something woody, I think. Yeah, like a sweet wood, almost like a mahogany, or a sweet sandalwood, or maybe even a hint of vanilla or tobacco, something in that family. Be interesting to look at the notes and see if I'm at all correct with what I'm guessing here. All right, so yeah, boy, if the soap smelled the strength of the aftershave, and this is not a strong aftershave. There's nothing punchy in this one, in this aftershave. It's there's nothing zesty. It's all smooth, refined, rich, and I like that. I like that a whole lot. So you know what? I may actually keep the milk because I like that. Yeah, shake well before use. Apply to a damp face. Storybook is in Glendale, Arizona, at least at the time of this manufacture. All right, so the soap, a little on the weak side, but yeah, I like that. I like that milk. I'm happy with that. So have no irritation from the shave. This was not as smooth as the Karve C solid bar, and it's not just because this is an open comb. You know what? I might have to have a shootout between this one and the other RFB I have and see if they shave differently at some point. But I had a very comfortable shave with the second and third passes. The Karve does beat it in terms of the use of this old feather, but I'm really glad that I tried it, and this is definitely a piece of history for sure. Well, I said this yesterday about the Manchurian from Elite Razor. It was a 26 millimeter knot, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Its tips are just a hair softer than this knot, but both are terrific, and both of them I could easily enjoy for the rest of my life. I would put this one in a different handle that's a little bit more ergonomic for my hands, but you can see it is opened up. When I first pulled it out of the travel sleeve, it was even just a little bit narrower than that. But it opens up nicely when ready for use, and it's just terrific. Soft, easy display. That's important for me. If you want tons of scrub and more backbone, then maybe this guy isn't quite for you. But I think he's in a nice place for me. He does have some backbone to keep these super soft tips and a lot of density there, as you can see. Stirling has even denser knots available now that cost around the $55 mark, but this guy I got for a lot less. And I'm glad I finally pulled the trigger and picked him up. I may have gotten him used, but I don't think so. I think I got him on sale or something. So I did use 5 teaspoons for this amount of loading for 30 seconds, and I ended up with easily twice as much lather as I needed. So I could definitely back off on that figure. Yeah, the milk is just still hanging around in terms of scent. It's wonderful, wonderful. Love it. So, do feathers dull quickly? I've got an average density beard, I believe, and I just finished my 45th shave. Wet lathers, razors that hold the blade really tightly, right up close to the edge, so that it doesn't chatter across your skin because of the underneath. A lot of times some razors will back off on the underside of the blade and depend on that top cap to flex it over, but there's just a little bit of play allowed there because the underneath is not supported. Well, Karve doesn't do that. This razor does a pretty good job of holding it reasonably close, and that might be why I'm able to go so far. I don't know, but the blade, obviously, I have an almost baby butt smooth on my cheeks, and I didn't even go anywhere near against the grain. Well, I may pass this soap on to somebody else, but I am keeping this milk. This is terrific. I could also see enjoying a cologne, an EDP or an EDT of this as well. And so I can see why this has stayed in the lineup with Storybook for so long. It's possible that the soap was just a little old and it just lost some of its scent over time. Sometimes that does happen. Still a tremendous performer. Can't recommend the base enough. And it's a great guy that runs it. Just kind of out of his home, you know. He just does what he can, and that's another reason why he, I believe, is not carrying large, long staple, restock kind of quantities of these fragrances that he's kept for a while now, because he's just a guy with a basement, that sort of thing, that type of scenario. And so he's going to reserve some of his inventory for new products and new things he's thinking about, and make things kind of as needed. Let him do his business however he wants, Well, hey, man, what a nice shave. I had been looking at this soap for a while. I got it as a part of a big purchase, and it means something to me in terms of my shaving walk. And so I'm glad that I'll be able to keep at least the post-shave product as a part of my shaving experience, and I could easily enjoy using this on a very regular basis. Nice, nice, nice. So I hope there was something here for you. Maybe take a look at Storybook and what they have out there and see if something, one of their scents might appeal to you. Not one of the more expensive brands, I believe. And so that's another plus as well. They may not be super top tier, but man, they're so close enough, because that's just a great performing base. In my opinion, I think it's, the top, it's just so close to knocking on the top tier stuff. And I mean, how awesome does something need to be for you to enjoy it? Just tons and tons. You saw how much I enjoyed the lather, and I'm sure you will too. All right. Hope there was something here for you. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care. Have a good night.